We're back for game number 2 here at Eastfield between the Amsterdam Mohawks and the Glens Falls Dragons. It was a back and forth battle and back and forth emotions in game number 1. The Dragons, they're the team that struck first against an electric Amsterdam lineup. It was in the bottom of the first where Trent Jinks had a single, stole second, and then Gino Savoca reached via an error where Jinks came around to score. That allowed Glens Falls to hop out on front 1-0. It stayed that way until the top of the fourth when Amsterdam's electric offense finally unloaded. They used 5 hits to score 3 runs. They didn't need a walk or anything like that, just scored it straight off their pure bats. And they took a 3-1 advantage heading to the bottom half. Glens Falls would respond right away to make it a 3-2 game, and it stayed that way through the fifth. And then in the sixth, Amsterdam struck once more. There's 2 more runs added on there, and then that's how we got to the final. That was 5-2. Amsterdam had 11 hits. They did commit 2 errors, and they left 7 on base. Glens Falls, who started the game hot, they only scored 2 runs on just 3 hits, and they left 3 runners on base. One of their fewest totals all season. All 3 of those runners left on were in the first 3 innings. Dylan Harding got the start in that one. Was pretty solid for the first 3 innings of work that he had, but in the fourth kind of got hit around. Same thing with Tristan Hunter, just not as notable for him. So we're set for our national anthem again here in game 2, so we'll step aside for just a couple minutes.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we marched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And we're back in our broadcast booth here at Eastfield in Glens Falls. Joined alongside Luke LaRose, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. The Dragons are already out there to get warm and ready for this second game, so how about we run you through the starting lineups. A big change for the Amsterdam Mohawks. And head coach Keith Griffin changed up the lineup a lot because it's led off by the right fielder Chris Holcraft. In the 2 spot is Alex Junghans. He'll be over at third. Brandon McCrane, who was hitting 3 last time, is back there again, but this time he'll be out in center field. Will Cowan, who hit cleanup before, is back in the cleanup spot. Bray Touchstone is hitting 5th. John Young Jr. moves up a spot. Danny Perez, the extra hitter, moves down 1. Wes Walker still hits 8. Sebastian Harden is in the 9 hole, and then Brad Curtis is the designated hitter hitting 10. For the Dragons on the other side, their lineup nearly identical. A couple of positional changes and 2 swaps. It's led off by the speedy Tyree Jackson out in center. Trent Jinks, the designated hitter, is hitting 2. Aiden Gallagher, the left fielder, will be in the 3 hole. That's all the same. The difference, the cleanup hitter, it's Robert Mello. He swaps spots with Gino Savoca, but right after the cleanup spot is still Joe Carpier's, and Savoca slides to 6. Out at first base, it'll be Nick Galello here for game 2, and then behind the dish of the doubleheader, as expected, will be Ryan Jones instead of Brendan McLaughlin, who will be out in the bullpen. Michael Sweeney rounds out the lineup at third. So a couple of swaps in the lineup, Luke, but pretty much the same for Glens Falls, whose offense was dormant at the end of game 1.
Yeah, the offense, while it was looking like it was going well for a while, just ended up just dying, and they couldn't figure out anything against Miller or Veronese. hopefully, they've got some success here. They need to at least split this doubleheader to have a shot at the playoffs.
Would love to split a doubleheader. Still a ton of season left as we stand at July 6th, so 3 weeks to go with Glens Falls now 9 games behind the Mohawks and 3.5 out of that final playoff spot. They handed the ball to Dylan Harding, who had back-to-back quality starts. Couldn't quite reach that number in Game 1. Today, or in Game 2, they're going to hand the ball off to Colin McMahon, who's appearing in his 5th game so far this season. And the last time he took the mound for the Dragons was back on June 29th against the Boonville Lumberjacks. That was out in Boonville when Glens Falls was mercy ruled 12 to 2 in 8 innings of work. McMahon was the second pitcher to come in there, so didn't get the decision where he went 2 innings, gave up 3 hits, allowed 2 runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. We're all set for action here in Game 2. Chris Holcraft steps into the box. The first pitch is a check swing. That's in there for strike 1, and we're underway. Holcraft hitting .284. He's got 15 stolen bags. You understand why he's hitting leadoff as he takes the 0-1 pitch and fouls it off towards the concourse along the right field line. Back in Game 1, Holcraft was hitting in the 2 spot where he went 1 for 4, where he scored a run. Big part of that 4th inning as the breaking ball doesn't quite break enough. Makes the count 1-2. But Holcraft's performance in that 4th inning, he led it off with a double and then came around to score. That was part of that big 3-run 4th inning that gave Amsterdam a lead they would not look back from. The 1-2 is popped up a mile high and a mile foul. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball lined out to left field. In comes Gallagher, and he makes the nag on the run. So McMahon causing some early contact. Lets his defense do the work to pick up out number 1. So in steps the lefty third baseman, Alex Junghans. Junghans didn't play in game number 1, so getting some action today in the second half. He watches the first pitch inside. He's hitting .229 so far this season with a triple and a home run to his name. The 1-0 takes a big cut on but comes up empty-handed. The 1-1 runs inside for ball 2. Behind the plate in game 2, it was the field umpire, Devin Rhodes, while out in the field will be the man behind the plate in Elliot Kennedy. So the 2 umpires, they swap spots for the second 7 innings of work here at East Field. The 2-1 curves inside, makes the count even at 2 apiece. The 2-2 pitch, another breaking ball, didn't come in towards the outside half. So now it's a full count to Alex Junghans. McMahon gets the pitch. The 3-2 is lined well foul. Junghans was just out in front of that one. But if he was able to straighten it out, it would have been danger down the right field line. So McMahon likes the first pitch that's thrown. And now delivers the payoff. Outside for ball 4. And Alex Juggins works a long walk from Colin McMahon, and he's the first base runner of the day. With the big Brendan McCain coming to the dish.
Dangerous, dangerous hitter. Gave Glens Falls troubles in the first game of this doubleheader.
McCain went 1 for 3, but he had his part pretty much everywhere. Drew a walk, had a stolen base, scored a run, had an RBI as they quickly go check on Juggins at first. So McCain being useful everywhere. Back out in that 3-hole spot. Today he's out in center field though, compared to first base the first time. The breaking ball gets away from Jones behind the plate. The throw down not nearly in time. So Juggins will advance on the wild pitch, and it's not often that we see Ryan Jones be the catcher behind the plate. It's usually been.
That is correct. Maybe trying to shake off a little bit of rust.
Some dancing around at second. The 1-0 is in there for strike 1. First time we're seeing McMahon working out of the stretch. Savoca leaning towards second. The 1-1. That one's popped out into center field. Jackson's got to move towards his left, settles underneath it, brings it in for out number 2. The runner tags but slips on his feet as it's cut off by the shortstop Carpier. So McCrane thought about trying to get towards third base but tripped over himself just a couple of steps away from the second base bag, so he has to retreat back with Will Cohen coming to the dish. In game 1, Cohen, who is out in right field, now gets the start at shortstop. So defensive craziness for the Mohawks. He went 1 for 2 with a double and a walk. Scored 1 and had an RBI to his name. So Cohen just as equally had his name across the entire stat sheet for Amsterdam. McMahon quickly comes set. The first pitch is in there for strike 1. The entirety of Amsterdam's bullpen has now come to crowd their dugout. So now the dugout looking extra packed and dense. It was a little chippy towards the end of that game. One where some words were getting exchanged from both sides. The 0-1 pitch, breaking ball, misses low. So some couple of the players weren't entirely happy with some words that were said from Glens Falls' dugout. And then at that point you saw then field umpire Devin Rhodes come and say some things to the Dragons, tell them to quiet down. The 1-1. Breaking ball, a check swing from Cohen. They're going to ask if he went. They'll say he did not. So McMahon tried to get a swing on another breaking ball low. Instead, Cowan does a good job to keep it back. It makes the count 2-1. McMahon comes set, takes a look at second with Juggins. The 2-1 pitch is in there for strike 2. Cowan takes a look towards home plate umpire Rhodes and asks a couple of questions. Shakes his head and steps out to reset. It's Deuces Wild here in the top of the first. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs early in this ball game. McMahon gets the sign to come set. Takes one look at second. The 2-2 is outside. Second full count of the frame for Colin McMahon. 3-2 is lined out into shallow left field. Gallagher's got to come in. On the run, he makes the play and falls over his feet. Aiden Gallagher comes up in a little bit of pain, holding over his left leg. But he made an excellent play from deep left field to run in and steal an out, prevent a run from scoring. So we head to the bottom of the first, with no score here at East Field. The bottom of the first set for action here at East Field. After the Dragons keep the Mohawks off the board in the top half, their offense can look to do what they did in Game 1 and put up some early runs. They'll have to do it against Amsterdam starter James Reddick, who throws a first pitch fastball right by Tyree Jackson. Reddick is yet to pitch against the Dragons so far this year, but the last time he took the mound was in an 11-8 win over Saugerties on July 1st, where he went 2 innings, gave up 1 hit and 2 runs, struck out 2, but he gave up a homer, and he did all of that coming as the second pitcher in relief. The 0-2 misses outside, makes the count 1-2. The pitch is outside, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Reddick so far this year, this will be his 8th appearance. And he's got out just a 4.3 ERA across 14 2/3 innings. As the 2-2 is a big cut from Jackson, but he comes up empty-handed. So Reddick wastes no time to get his first strikeout of the day and bring up the designated hitter, Trent Jenks. Now we see Tyree Jackson have a couple of words for the 3-hole hitter, Aiden Gallagher, who waits on deck. So maybe seeing a couple of things out of the hand of Reddick. The first pitch to Jenks is in there for strike 1. Third baseman Jungins is playing along the base path. Everybody else is back. The 0-1 bounced in the dirt. The lights just come on here at East Field as we near the 8 o'clock hour. Part of this doubleheader. Game 1 finishing a little later, which means Game 2 will go that much longer than normal as the 1-1 misses low. The 2-1 pitch is broken bat back towards Reddick on the mound. He grabs it and flips it over towards first. And you see Jenks take the bat and try to snap it over his knee for out number 2. So Aiden Gallagher comes to the dish. Last game for Gallagher, he went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a flyout. He takes a big cut at the first pitch he sees. But so far this year, Gallagher has been absolutely stellar. Coming into today, he was hitting .364 with 3 doubles to his name. But he's now worked himself into an 0-2 count. So Reddick trying to make quick works of the Dragons in the bottom of the first. Shaking off a couple of options. Now delivers the 0-2. Fouled off into the netting. You hear the Mohawks dugout. They're getting loud, and now a pitch that started, they're going to ask. It looked like he balked, but it was home plate umpire Devin Rhodes who actually called timeout while Reddick was mid-motion. So the count is 1-2. As Gallagher weakly hits it over towards the third baseman Jungans. He fields it cleanly, throws across the diamond, and it's in time for out number 3. So James Reddick goes 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first to make it a no-run first inning here at East Field. Quick work for both pitchers in the first. Keep it scoreless as we enter the second. It'll be the 5-hole hitter, Bray Touchstone, to start it off for the Mohawks against Colin McMahon, who forced a lot of contact in that top of the first, large in part to that breaking ball that almost ran up and hit Touchstone. In game 1, Touchstone was the extra hitter. He's over at first now. He went 0 for 3 in that 5-hole with a strikeout, a ground out, and a line out. So he's hitting the ball, just not hitting it into the gaps. Like he hit that ball over towards the Mohawks dugout. Luckily, it avoided everybody. Bounced off the top of the dugout and out of play. But that was scary off the bat of Bray Touchstone.
That had some velocity to it.
So now the 1-1 from McCann is chopped weakly out in front. McCann's got to come off the ground. Fields it cleanly, throws over to first to get touchdown on the run. So more contact. This time, though, weak from McMahon gets the first out in the top of the second. So now the lefty, John Young Jr., comes to the plate. He's one of the few players that's staying at their original position that they had in game one. He's played all of second base his first time up. He'll play all of second base today, as the first pitch he sees is a breaking ball in there for strike one. Young Jr. was 2 for 3 with 2 singles, scored a run, and had a flyout, but he was caught stealing in that first game. He hits this one weakly over towards the third baseman, Sweeney. He fields it cleanly, throws over to Galello, and that's in time. Back-to-back weak contact for McMahon, and he's letting his defense work for 2 easy outs here in the top of the second.
No need to get strikeouts when you're getting contact like that, provided your team plays solid defense. And
we've seen the Dragons' defense step it up as of late, and McMahon is known to do this, just kind of let and trust the 7 guys he's got behind him, the 1 in front of him, because through his 9 2/3 innings coming into the day, he had just 6 strikeouts, but he allowed just 3 walks. So he would go at hitters and really force them to make excellent plays. The first pitch he now throws to Danny Perez is upstairs.
And Glens Falls has brought out the more defensive-minded lineup with Sweeney over at third, Galello over at first, some of the more better defensive guys to help out with McMahon.
The 1-0 outside makes the count 2-0. Perez in game number 1, he was 1 for 3. Another guy that had an RBI, scored a run. He reached via fielder's choice. That's just what this Amsterdam lineup will do to you. As the 2-0 breaking ball misses upstairs. Makes the count 3-0. The 3-0 pitch is in there for strike 1. Got one in a similar spot to that off-speed pitch on the 2-0. Maybe not as much movement. Had home plate umpire Devin Rhodes for sure thinking about it.
Didn't look like Perez was going to swing at all.
McMahon delivers the 3-1. Outside for ball 4. So a 2-out walk puts a base runner on for the Mohawks, with the catcher Wes Walker coming to the dish. And Walker, he was 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs in game 1. All 3 of his hits were singles. All 3 of them to right field. So if you're the Dragons, and if more particularly if you're Robert Mello, who's standing out there in right, you've got to expect some action coming your way. The first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. The 1-0 bounces away from Jones behind the plate, but they'll actually say it hit off the foot of Walker. So a hit by pitch for the catcher puts runners now on first and second with 2 outs here in the top of the second. Just the second hit by pitch this season for Wes Walker. But it brings up the left fielder, Sebastian Harden. The first pitch is swung on and missed. Harden tried to send that ball to the moon. Instead, it'll get thrown right back to Colin McMahon and get ready for the 0-1.
aggressive.
Harding was 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch his last at bat, but grounded out both times as a breaking ball curves in there for strike 2. Excuse me, he reached via a fielder's choice and then was caught stealing. And then his next at bat weakly grounded back to the pitcher before being hit his third time to the plate. McMahon gets a sign he likes and comes set. The 0-2. Chopped. This one along the third base line, but it's going to go foul. So we'll redo the 0-2. And now Jones will go have a conversation with Savoca at second, who came in to join the conversation with McMahon on the mound. Maybe just a conversation to make sure those signs are right. It all makes sense together. Is it still an 0-2 count to Harding, with Perez standing at second and Walker at first? Immediately you had Perez, who was dancing around at second because McMahon got on the mound in his windup stance, and the entire infield was telling him to step off. So McMahon gets back out, this time in the stretch. The 0-2. Bounced in the dirt, gets away from Jones behind the plate, and that'll allow both runners to advance. So the first ball to Hardin moves runners 90 feet, and now there's 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs. The 1-2. Chopped over towards Sweeney at third. He bobbles it, tries to throw across the diamond, but it's not in time. So an E5 against Michael Sweeney allows the first run to come across and score. It's Amsterdam on top, 1-0.
I think that one just got on Sweeney a little quickly. They call it the hot corner for a reason, and you can see that one causes him to make a mistake there.
Originally, it looked like it hopped off the chest of Sweeney, but he went to go grab it and then just kind of lofted it behind him. So had it just hit off his chest and got over him, you could see it being called a base knock. Instead, it'll go down as an error. And now puts runners on the corners with only 1 out, or with 2 outs, excuse me. The pitch with the runner on the move is low for ball 1, and the Dragons will happily allow Harding into second base. So now the position stays exactly where it was before. It's Walker who stands on third. Hardin is over at second. It's Brad Curtis, the designated hitter, who lines that one out into the left center field gap. Over goes Gallagher and Jackson. Gallagher tries to make a catch on the run, but can't. It hits off the wall as 2 runs come home to score, and the designated hitter, Brad Curtis, blows this one open. Amsterdam leads it 3-0 in the top of the second.
Really well hit ball. Nothing. I guess I should stop talking.
So the lineup turns over for the Mohawks. It's Chris Holcraft who will step back in there. He squares to bunt, pulls back in time, takes it for ball 1. There was 2 quick outs here in the top of the second, and then next thing you know, a walk, a hit by pitch, an error. The Mohawks score 1. And And then a big double from Brad Curtis scores the other two. They're going to go check on him over at second. He gets back in there safely.
Innings like this might tend to happen if you pitch to contact. You're trying to get soft contact, but Curtis, big strong guy, can just drive a ball and not ideal.
The 1-0 is lined along the third base line, but foul. Curtis was hitting only .214 this year, and that double, that was his first extra base hit of 2025. Brought in his 5th and 6th RBIs as well. So if you're Amsterdam, you'd love to see a guy that's maybe not had the most successful year finally get one going. The 1-1, breaking ball. This one's popped right out of play. Lands on top of our booth here behind home plate and bounces into the parking lot. So McMahon comes set. The 1-2 is chopped over towards the shortstop, Carpier's. He throws across the diamond to first. It's in time. And the Dragons stop the bleeding. They trail it 3-0 heading to the bottom of the second. Welcome back to Eastfield in a 3-0 ball game in favor of Amsterdam. It'll be Robert Mello leading it off for the Dragons. He's in an early 1-1 count. He watches that one almost run inside and nail him for ball 2. It was 2-out heroics for the Mohawks. That's what'll put them up in front 3-0. As the 2-1 is lined out into shallow left center field. Over goes the shortstop Cohen to bring it in for out number 1.
And you couldn't see it while we were on break, but Colin McMahon walked back to the bullpen and slammed his hat on his bench multiple times in disgust. Not too pleased with that inning from himself.
So in steps the shortstop Joe Carpier's. He watches the first pitch curve in for strike 1. Carpier's was 0 for 3 in game 1. He had 2 strikeouts and a ground out to his name. The 0-1 he sees is outside for ball 1. You have to mention what the leash is on a guy like McMahon. The Dragons need pitchers that can eat innings because these next 3 games are no easier. As the 1-1 is fouled out of play over towards the parking lot. But at the same time, Glens Falls would love nothing more than to win this game, even though they already trail by 3. Just might be easier said than done. The 1-2 is in there for strike 3. Carpier's goes down looking for the second strikeout of James Reddick's day.
To your point, I think Glens Falls used one more arm than they were hoping to when they brought in Falcon for the last inning. Saw Xavier Garcia just moving around at times in the bullpen. Might do a little bit of an opener situation, but there's no activity in the bullpen anymore.
So into the box steps the traditional cleanup hitter, Gino Savoca. He's first pitch swinging. This one a mile high on the infield. Over goes the third baseman, Juggins. He calls off everybody and drops it. The play was right behind home plate, or right behind the pitcher's mound. Juggins, going all the way from third, called off both Cowan and Young Jr., and it dropped in for an E5. So now a pair of errors on both sides. Now allow a base runner, and maybe the Dragons can get some 2-outs heroics themselves. Nick Galello is first pitch swinging. He fouls it off straight back.
I think just kind of lost that one in the sky. That ball was up there for a long, long time.
The 0-1 is lined out to shallow center field. McCrane comes in a couple of steps and brings it in for out number 3. So despite the big and loud error from the third baseman Juggins, Reddick makes quick work of Galello for out number 3 to keep the Mohawks in front. They lead it 3-0 as we head to the third. It's the bottom or the top of the third here at East Field in a 3-run ball game with Amsterdam on top. Alongside Luke LaRose, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. New pitcher on the mound for the Dragons. It's Xavier Garcia. Used to getting starts. We questioned whether or not he would get the start in today's contest. Instead, coming out of the bullpen and takes out Colin McMahon, who just went 2 innings, giving up just 1 hit. Allowed 3 runs to score, but only 1 of them is earned. Walked 2 and struck out none. The first pitch from Xavier Garcia is a ball to the lefty third baseman Alex Juggins. And then the second pitch Garcia throws, runs inside, and nails the third baseman. So Juggins will take his way down to first and put a base runner on with nobody out here in the top of the third. So it's Brendan McCrane who will come in to pitch, or come in to hit, excuse me. He flew out to center field his last time up. It was allowed out to straightaway center. That's the second hit batter of 2025 for Xavier Garcia, who's in his 6th appearance so far this year as he throws the first pitch in the dirt. And for as great as Garcia has been, most innings on the team, has looked stellar. He's still got a 4.37 ERA. He is winless. He's 0 for 2 across his 5 appearances. As that one's chopped to the shortstop Carpieres. He fields it cleanly, flips it to Savoca for 1, overthrows Galello, who gets it in his glove for keeping that runner at first. So the Dragons do a good job to get the force runner Chungins at second on the flip from Carpieres to Savoca. But then McCrane beats out the fielder's choice at first.
Almost didn't get Juggins. Carpieres kind of bobbled that transition, but was able to corral it in time to flip it to Savoca.
So now in steps the shortstop Will Cohen. The first pitch in the dirt for ball 1. Garcia, he's getting his first bit of work since the June 27th loss to Boonville, where he gave up 3 runs across 5 innings. They go check on McCrane at first. He gets back in there safely. He went 5 innings in that matchup, gave up 8 hits. He did strike out 6, though. But he walked a couple batters as well. Not the strongest performance from Garcia. The Dragons hoping he could keep the score where it's at. First lefty we've seen today for the Dragons on the mound as he throws the 1-0 pitch well outside. And we know what we can do when he throws that big sweeping curveball. He'll put it out there. He'll throw it in 0-2 counts. He'll throw it in 3-0 counts. It's a pitch that he has extreme confidence in. Regardless of who or what is the situation, you saw one there, just couldn't quite get around to make the count 3-0.
That curveball is his go-to pitch. So he kind of pitches backwards from a lot of other pitchers you'll see who rely on that fastball. He tends to rely on that sweeping ball.
Knows how to throw it in a day where that sweeper has been ever more effective, but gets a fastball on the outside half for strike 1. The 3-1 from Garcia is outside for ball 4. So a hit by pitch, a fielder's choice, and then a 5-pitch walk puts the runners on first and second with 1 out. And the first baseman, Bray Touchstone, to the dish. Just like that, Ryan Jones will come out and have a conversation. Michael Sweeney comes in from third base to join in on the chat. Give a couple of words of encouragement to Xavier Garcia, who has really struggled out of the bullpen. At a time where the Dragons were just trying to limit damage. It is still a 7-inning game in the second half of a doubleheader. But the mercy rule, it still plays in effect. 10 runs after 5 innings instead of 10 after 7. The first pitch to Touchstone is low for ball 1.
We've seen innings like this before out of Garcia. I think the reason they switched to Garcia after McMahon and did the opener approach is because as the game goes on, he tends to bog down and start to struggle. But he's struggling out of the gate with this one.
The 1-0, fouled straight back.
So the thought process might be if Garcia can get out of this inning, he can just kind of power through to the end of the game. Save some arms.
team that needs arms, as many arms as possible, especially with the hectic week ahead. The 1-1 is both runners on the move. The throw down to third, picked by Sweeney, but not in time. McCrane will add a stolen base to his tenure, so will Will Cowan, as they both improve 90 feet into scoring position, with now a 2-1 count to Bray Touchstone. Touchstone grounded out weakly to the pitcher his first time up. He's got an opportunity to add some RBIs to his name as he watches the 2-1 upstairs for ball 3. Touchstone's got 19 RBIs to his name. Watches the 3-1 pitch in there for strike 2. That stolen base from McCrane. That's number 8 on the year. As that one almost runs inside and nails Touchstone. So back-to-back walks for the first baseman, or for the pitcher. Loads the bases to bring up the second baseman, John Young Jr. He also grounded out his first time. His first pitch swinging went over towards third with Michael Sweeney. But again, in game 1, he was 2 for 3 with a run. Both of his hits were singles. The first pitch he sees, takes a big cut at, but comes up empty-handed.
If you're Garcia, you're hoping that the lefty-on-lefty splits for Young are in your favor. Be an easy out if Young can't hit lefties good.
The 0-1 takes another big cut, another big swing, and another big miss. The 0-2. This one's chopped out to shallow right field. Savoca goes out. It's going to knock and fall down into shallow right. One run will come home to score. Everyone else will stay where they're at. So Young Jr. continues the hit streak. Adds an RBI single to his tenure today. And brings in a 4th run. Amsterdam leads it now 4-0. Young Jr., he did that all with two strikes as well. Moves the baton and brings up the extra hitter, Danny Perez. The first pitch he sees, he fouls straight back.
Yeah, that one was in on his hands, too. Good job of just muscling that one past Savoca.
Perez walked his first time up, would come around to score as part of that 3-run second inning. As the pitch is bounced in the dirt, gets away from Jones behind the plate, but not far enough for anyone to go anywhere. So it's Cowan over at third, Touchstone at second. Young Jr. stands at first. The 1-1. Low for ball 2. The 2-1 pitch. Runs inside, almost nails Perez, but it's low for ball 3. And now the command of Xavier Garcia is really getting questioned.
And there is movement in the Glens Falls bullpen.
The 3-1. In there. Makes the count full. A big out for Xavier Garcia to strand bases. Got 3 balls, 2 strikes, only 1 out. The pitch. Fouled straight back. Perez is making Garcia earn it. The payoff is chopped. This one's on the infield. Savoca runs in, but Galello calls him off. He brings it in for out number 2 and keeps everyone where they're at.
Huge second out.
So now another lefty, and Wes Walker comes to the dish. The catcher was hit by a pitch his last time up. He's actually a switch hitter, Wes Walker is. Not often you see that in the PGCBL. First time he's got to face a lefty, so first time we get to see him out of the righty's batter box. The first pitch is upstairs.
Usually one switch hitter tends to favor one side of the plate versus the other, so we'll get to figure out now whether he likes batting lefty or righty better.
The 1-0. Chopped on the ground over towards Carpier's at short. He's got to throw across the diamond, and he does in time. Gets Walker on a weak ground out, and Xavier Garcia stops the bleeding with just one. He strands the bases loaded, even though Amsterdam added another. We head to the bottom of the third with the Mohawks in front, 4-0. We're back at East Field in a 4-run ball game. The Dragons trail the Mohawks 4-0. As is Ryan Jones who starts it off for the Dragons. He chops a couple of pitches foul, make it a 1-1 count. The 1-1 pitch is in there for strike 2. The 1-2. Runs inside, almost nails Jones. But he gets out of the way, evens the count at 2 apiece.
Jones has not had a lot of at-bats at all this year. He's kind of the third catcher, the odd man out in the rotation.
The 2-2, though, that one nails the zone. And Jones will go down looking. for out number 1 here in the bottom of the third. So the third baseman, Michael Sweeney, rounds out the lineup for the Dragons. The first pitch he sees is in there for strike 1, and James Reddick, he's wasted no time. Sweeney had just 2 at-bats in game number 1. He went 0 for 2 in both, flew out and grounded out. Steal 1 is swung on and missed. Reddick trying to make quick work of Sweeney.
I think Reddick's pace of play in general, he's just a quick pitcher trying to throw the hitters off their timing.
And now the 0-2 almost runs upside and nails him.
Doesn't waste any time. Gonna get set.
The 1-2. Low. Makes the count even at 2 apiece. That one's fouled off Sweeney's bat. It looked like he got just a piece of it on the check swing, so we'll redo the 2-2. The pitch. Outside, draws the count full. The payoff is popped up. This one into shallow center field. McCrane comes in a couple of steps, calls everyone off, and says, I got it for out number 2.
Yeah, batting number 25 is center fielder Tyree Jackson.
So the top of the lineup steps to the box with the center fielder Tyree Jackson. Jackson went down swinging his first time at the plate. Reddick's first pitch in there for strike 1.
Got a quick moving pitcher versus an aggressive hitter.
The 0-1. Another breaking ball in there for strike 2. You can't be aggressive when you dig yourself an early 0-2 count. James Reddick not wasting any time. Back on the bump already. Comes set. The 0-2 pitch. He thought it was strike 3. He started walking off the mound. A couple of the Mohawks infielders thought it was strike 3. A couple of the people in Amsterdam's dugout thought so too. The 1-2 now. This one's popped out foul into the parking lot.
Fans, don't forget to turn those foul balls in at the front gate.
The 1-2. Upstairs now makes the count even at 2 apiece. So the Mohawks upset about what was the first ball. Now Jackson's worked it to a 2-2 count. The pitch. This one's lined out into center field. McCrane's got to come in about 2 steps, and he's got it for out number 3. So another 1-2-3 inning, the third of the day for James Reddick. He makes quick work of the Dragons, tries to get some more runs, and maybe a mercy here in game 2 of a doubleheader.
Welcome back to East Field in a 4-0 ball game in favor of Amsterdam. Alongside Luke LaRose, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. We're about to hit the halfway marker of this doubleheader while the Mohawks keep piling it on. They put on 3 runs in the second, another in the third, while their starting pitcher James Reddick has kept it shut down. Xavier Garcia, who comes out of the pen, has struggled a little bit, continues that struggle here in the fourth with a first pitch to Sebastian Harden outside for ball 1. Now the 1-0 is swung on by the left fielder, even though it bounced in the dirt, and Garcia gets bailed out.
Harden's a guy who's given Glens Falls problems so far in the doubleheader.
The 1-1. Low makes the count 2-1. Harden was 0 for 2 in game 1. Love to finally get that hit. Reached via an error his last time up, but he chops this one over towards Carpier's at short. The throw across the diamond to Galello makes him jump off the bag to grab it, but he gets back down in time for out number 1.
Now batting, number 38, the designated hitter, Brad Curtis.
So in steps the designated hitter Brad Curtis, who had a 2-out double, had scored 2 runs, the first 2 runs of the game. Back in the top of the second. He watches takes the first pitch and lines it out into left field. Gallagher's gonna bring it in real quick, and Curtis, first pitch, he's been mashing so far in game 2. Puts a base knock out there, and now there's a 1-out base runner.
2 hard hits for him. Rocked the one off the CWI sign. Smoked that one by the third baseman.
And Curtis, he was just hitting .214. Had that first extra base hit of the year as Chris Holcraft fouls off the first pitch he sees. So it's been an excellent game 2 for Brad Curtis. Didn't play in the game 1, so getting more of that action. As the lineup turns over, they've got to face Xavier Garcia now for the second time as the 0-1 misses outside. Garcia came in to face 2, 3, and 4, and already in just an inning and a third has faced 9 of the 10 batters. This will be number 10 in the Mohawk lineup. The 1-1 pitch is lined out into the left center field gap. Jackson goes over, brings it in, but they're going to send Curtis towards third. The throw is picked off short. The runner tries to advance to second, and he is in there easily. So a single for Chris Holcraft as he advances on the throw. Puts runners in scoring position with only 1 out here in the top of the 4th.
Garcia, every time they're making contact with Garcia, it's hard contact.
So now the third baseman, Alex Jungin, steps to the dish. He doesn't have an at-bat today, technically, because his first time up he drew a walk and then was hit by a pitch. His second time up, that was in the third. He watches the first pitch ball. But it's some lefty-on-lefty work that he's got to do again. He was bailed out his first time, so see what he can do in another at-bat against Xavier Garcia. The 1-0 takes a half-hearted swing. They'll say he went around. And there's no appeal because it was called by home plate umpire Devin Rhodes. So even though Jungins didn't disagree with it the whole way, they said he went, and that evens the count at 1 apiece. The 1-1 is outside, makes the count 2-1. The pitch is swung on and missed. Jungins took a big cut, but comes up empty-handed. The corners for the Dragons have come in. The 2-2 is lined out to deep center field. Jackson goes back a little bit, settles underneath it for out number 2. Tagging from third, in comes Curtis, and it's a sacrifice fly for Alex Jungins to make it a 5-0 ball game in favor of Amsterdam.
Just hasn't been Garcia's night. Everything hit's been hard or hit deep, and they're running up the score against him.
And now, head coach for the Dragons, Ryan Dio, comes out to the mound. You imagine that's the end, and it is for Xavier Garcia. So we'll step aside for a couple minutes with a new pitcher warming as we enter a 5-0 ball game with Amsterdam on top.
And we're back here at East Field. In the top of the fourth with 2 outs. The Dragons pitching staff has just been pummeled so far by Amsterdam. As the center fielder Brendan McCrane steps into the box. He's got Chris Holcraft standing at second. A run has already come home to score for Amsterdam in this 4th inning. The first pitch now from the new pitcher, Christian Mello, is fouled straight back for strike 1. Garcia, he just went 1 2/3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, walked 2, struck out none. So Mello inherits a runner on second base, and a not so fun experience for the righty. The 0-1 from Mello is low, makes the count even at 1 apiece.
It's a night I think Garcia would like to forget.
Maybe Mello trying to right some of the wrongs that he's had so far this season as well. He's got a 12.15 ERA. Love to get that one down as you see Holcraft dancing at second. The 1-1-2. McCrane is fouled straight back, makes the count 1-2. Last time Mello saw the field was in the 9-5 loss on July 2nd to Socrates. He went just an inning, gave up a hit, allowed 3 earned runs, struck out 2 though in the process. Mello steps off. He wants that sign one more time. Make sure him and the catcher Ryan Jones are on the same page. So looking in for a sign. Finally gets one to come set. And now there's going to be timeout called by the batter McCrane. So maybe a little bit too long for the center fielder. He wants to reset, maybe trying to throw off Mello as he introduces him out of the bullpen. The 1-2. Are swung on and missed. Mello wins the battle and sits down Brendan McCain for the first time today. He gets his first strikeout out of the bullpen. But Amsterdam, they still lead it 5-0 as we enter the bottom of the fourth. Early substitution for head coach Ryan Dio and the Dragons. Instead of the designated hitter Trent Jinks, it'll be Andrew Gabriel, whose first pitch swinging. That one lined over towards Cowan at short. He throws on the move to first and gets Gabriel off the bench. So Andrew Gabriel maybe trying to start a spark. Instead, finds himself headed back to the dugout the same way the rest of the Dragon staff has.
And I don't want to intervene, but a second pitch hitter in a row, James Houghton.
So another lefty in the lineup. Maybe head coach Ryan Dio just trying to empty the bullpen, or empty the dugout, I should say, as Houghton, a lefty, comes into the box. He watches the first pitch strike.
And looking on deck, it looks like there will be 3 pinch hitters in a row.
Houghton takes the 0-1 towards left field. It's going to get down for a base knock. Harden goes over, corrals it before Houghton can advance to second. And that brings up Like you mentioned, the third pinch hitter in Chase Falcon. And maybe a little bit of an intentional plan from Ryan Dio, because up to that hit from up to that hit from Houghton, the Dragons were being shut out. That's their first hit of the ball game, and here in the bottom of the fourth, as Falcon watches the first pitch get away from Walker behind the plate, and Houghton will take his way to second. So Chase Falcon in the box. He's hit 208 this season. We saw him pitch in game 1. Now he's getting some ABs here in game 2. The third baseman, Juggins, has come in for the Mohawks. The 1-0 is in there for strike 1. And we saw a lot of these players that are coming off the bench getting maybe some pinch hit at bats played in that game against Boonville, where they exploded in a 7-1 victory. As the 1-1 pitch runs inside, almost nails Falcon for ball 2.
Specifically, James Houghton had a good game, and Chase Falcon, I don't remember if he played in that game at all.
Falcon did play in that game. He went 1 for 2 with 2 walks and a single. Had on a stolen base as well. So he had a pretty impressive performance back on Thursday. It's the 2-1. Falcon fouls it off into the parking lot. But you mentioned Houghton having a pretty good game. Well, he went 2 for 3 with a walk, a double. So his first hit, his first extra base hit, all came in that game against Boonville. He's kept the hot bat because over his last 5 at-bats, he's 3 for 5 with a walk. The 2-2 is in there for strike 3. So Falcon goes down just straight looking, and another pinch hitter has come to the dish in Tate Van Alsten.
Another one of those guys back in that Boonville game who was part of that offensive explosion. He had a big triple in that one.
So again, maybe head coach Ryan Dio enlisting to empty the bench. The first pitch Van Alsten sees is outside for ball 1. Also, maybe not entirely happy with how the starting staff of his team looked. They were pretty angry, pretty aggressive, kind of throwing stuff everywhere. Not all excited about that, so he says, let me grab everybody else. As you see on deck, we've got another pinch hitter. As it stands, it's number 3, Christian Moat. So the 2-0 is swung on, fouled, off to the right-hand side.
And it's hard to tell who's on deck, but it looks like Jackson Mueller's on deck too.
The 2-1 runs inside, but it gets part of the zone to even the count at 2 apiece.
Or not on deck, in the hole, I should say. Jackson Mueller looks like he's in the hole.
Would make sense with currently as it stands, Nick Galello, the first baseman, also are supposed to be in the hole. So deuce is wild here in the bottom of the 4th. The 2-2. Broken bat back towards the pitcher, Reddick. He fields it cleanly, throws across his body, and gets him for out number 3. So even though head coach Ryan Dio empties the bench, it doesn't mean much as the Mohawks still lead it 5-0. 3 innings to go in a doubleheader here at East Field. It's still a 5-run ball game with the Mohawks in front. They lead it 5-0. Christian Mello's back out on the mound. He got Will Cowan first pitch popping up out into right field for the new right fielder, Chase Falcon, who brings it in for out number 1. So those pinch hitting opportunities change to some defensive adjustment. It's James Houghton who's now out in left. Chase Falcon is out in right. Tate Van Alsten is over at short. It looks like everybody else stays the same for now. And if they continue to enlist those pinch hitters, they'll change as the game goes on. The first pitch now to Bray Touchstone. Takes a big cut, but he comes up empty-handed for strike 1. Mello's got to look in a little extra far to get the sign. Doesn't quite have it from the catcher Jones, so he's still waiting. Now he finally does. The 0-1. Chopped over towards the new shortstop Van Alsten, but he can't make the play cleanly. And he'll drop it in center field. So we'll wait to see how it's scored.
That is a single for touchdown.
It goes down as a base knock for touchdown. So a 1-out single for the first baseman brings up the lefty John Young Jr. Young Jr. is 1 for 2 today. Had a single in the third, grounded out back in the second. The first pitch he sees is upstairs for ball 1. The 1-0. Also outside. Makes the count 2-0. Mello comes set. The 2-0 is in there for strike 1. So again, those defensive substitutions. It's Houghton in left, Falcon in right. Van Alsten is now at short. The 2-1 with the runner on the move is fouled off, which means Touchstone has got to go back to 90 feet. A hit and run maybe for John Young Jr. comes up unsuccessful. So the count evens at 2 apiece. The 2-2 line down the third base line, but it's foul. Just barely curved foul along that third base line. And had it got down, maybe a run comes home to score, and the Mohawks make it a 4th straight inning where they've scored.
Noticing that Christian Mello really likes to take his time out on the mound. Juxtaposition from what we see from the Amsterdam pitcher, who is all gas, no brakes.
The 2-2 is outside, gets away from Jones behind the plate, and that'll allow Touchstone to reach easily. It goes down as a pass ball. You rarely see that from the catcher, but it bounced off his glove, was catchable. It puts a runner in scoring position with now a full count John Young Jr. The payoff is outside and gets away from Jones. They're going to allow Touchstone, who's going to attempt to get to third, and it almost gets over the head of Sweeney. Great play from the third baseman to jump up and actually nab the ball. Had that gotten into the outfield, Touchstone hadn't gone down yet, so he could have taken home. Instead, there'll be runners on the corners with only one out, and now pitching coach Matt Gonzalez comes out to have a conversation with Christian Mello. So we've talked about it a lot today, Luke, is that this team really needs to limit the amount of pitchers that they use because the schedule it doesn't get any easier. Tomorrow is Saugerties. The day after is this Amsterdam team again, and then Mohawk Valley, a team who you currently sit 3.5 games out of, who holds the final playoff spot in the East Division.
And that's all in a stretch of 4 days, and they are emptying their bullpen. They've got movement. I hope they think that they could get Mello to stretch a little bit more. They were hoping that with Garcia. Go back to the first game, they're hoping that Connor Trudeau could close them out, but just really struggling getting depth out of their pitchers tonight.
The good news is that Xavier Garcia, who wasn't on it today, didn't throw a ton of pitches. Neither did Connor Trudeau in game number 1. Chase Falcon, who came in to close out game number 1 for the Dragons, didn't throw a ton of pitches either. And McMahon only went the 2 innings. And maybe those guys are ready to turn around in 2 days' time with the limited pitches, but also under stress from their college coach. It says the first pitch to Danny Perez is out to right field, but it's going to get brought in for out number 2. As tagging from third comes Touchstone, and he'll score standing up. So the Mohawks add another run for the 4th straight inning. They now lead it 6-0 here in the top of the 5th. So Perez picks up the sacrifice fly, with Touchstone coming home to score the 6th run of the ball game for Amsterdam. And they are absolutely cruising. The first pitch now to Alex Jungins, to Wes Walker. Is swung on and missed. Walker, a switch hitter. His last at bat took it from the right side of the plate. Now comes over with the righty on the mound to take it from the left. He lines that one back up the middle, underneath the glove of Savoca, and it'll be Young Jr. who goes towards third, and it's a 2-out single for Wes Walker to put runners on the corners again. This time, though, with 2 outs. So the left fielder, Sebastian Harden, comes to the dish. He's 0 for 1 today. 0 for 2. Reached via an error and grounded out. When he reached via an error, he came around to score. Part of those 3-run second inning. The first pitch he sees is upstairs. Almost hits him in the head. The 1-0. Breaking ball in there for strike 1. The 1-1 misses upstairs. Makes the count 2-1. The pitch. This one's fouled off into the bleachers. Off the netting. So it makes the count even at 2 apiece. Now there's deuces wild for Christian Mello. He's got 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 people on here in the top of the 5th. The Mohawks, they need 4 runs to enact a mercy rule. Got 2 runners close to do so. The pitch from Mello is upstairs to make the count full. Mello comes set. The payoff pitch. Bounced in the dirt for ball 4. So worked a full count against Sebastian Harden, but couldn't keep it in. Overthrew the ball in the dirt to load the bases with Brad Curtis coming to the dish. And Curtis, he's 2 for 2 today.
A couple hard hit balls to get that 2 for 2. Not known for his average coming into tonight, but
Had his first double of the year back in the second inning, had a single in the 4th. He's got 2 RBIs today as well. Half of his season total this year. Would love to add 2, maybe 3 more. He hits his first home run. That makes it a 10-0 ball game.
so far when he's made contact tonight, he's hit that ball hard.
The 0-1. Upstairs. Evens the count at 1 apiece. So it's Young Jr. who stands at third. Walker is over at second. Harden is at first. And Curtis in a 1-1 count at the plate. He takes the 1-1 and fouls it straight back. So now Mello's 1 pitch away from stranding the bases loaded. That would be the second time in 5 innings the Dragons have done that. The 1-2 from Mello is chopped over towards the left side. Sweeney picks it up, delivers a throw across the diamond, and it's in time. So the Dragons strand 3 once again. But Amsterdam still picks up another. They lead it now 6-0 as we enter the bottom of the 5th. More substitutions for Glens Falls here in the bottom of the 5th. It's Christian Moat who steps back on the mound, or steps back in the batter's box to welcome the new pitcher for the Mohawks. It's Joe Gold who takes over for James Reddick. Reddick went 4 innings of one-hit baseball. Gave up 0 runs, 0 walks, struck out 4. Now passes the ball on the bump to a guy that across 3 appearances has pitched just 3 innings, but has a 0 ERA in that frame. Given up just 3 hits, walked just 2, struck out 7. The first pitch he throws to Moat is inside for ball 1. We mentioned a bunch of substitutions. Waiting in the wings will be another. It's Jackson Mueller who waits as the 1-0 pitch misses inside to Moat for ball 2. The 2-0 finally finds the zone for Gold. The 2-1. Fouled off. Straight behind home plate, makes the count even at 2 apiece. So Gold looked like he was struggling to find the zone. Now gets Moat swinging quite a bit. Moat, who's struggled so far this year, he's hitting .091. He's got just 2 hits in 22 at-bats. The 2-2, he lines out to right field, and it gets down for a base knock. Moat hustling out of the box. He's going to try for 2, and then falls over, decides to come back. The throw back in, they try to grab him, but he gets back in there safely. So the 3rd hit of the season for Christian Moat puts him on first with nobody out and brings up the big first baseman, Jackson Mueller.
Probably couldn't came at a better time to find your third base knock of the year. Jackson Mueller, we know he could put the ball deep in the field.
Mueller's first pitch swinging, this one foul though. Mueller, he's known for his doubles. There's quite a few of those on the season as he takes a big cut at the 0-1 pitch. Mueller's 4 doubles leads the Dragons this season, yet he's hitting just 195. So it feels like it's almost double or nothing. He's got more doubles than regular hits this year as he takes that one, lines it out to deep left field. Harden's got to go back a couple steps, but he brings it in for out number 1. So you see the loud contact from Jackson Mueller. It doesn't work in the favor of the Dragons as for the first time in 6 batters, we get a non-pinch hitter. Ryan Jones will come to the plate and hit for himself. Jones went down looking his first time up. That was back in the 3rd as he watches the first pitch ball. They're going to go check over at first with Moat. He gets back in there safely. Moat does have 3 steals this year, so wouldn't be surprised maybe if head coach Ryan Dio decides he does want to send him, but also in a game where it's seemingly out of hand. The Dragons, they've got 8 outs to work with to try to claw back into the 6-run deficit. As the 1-1 to Jones is popped foul off to the right-hand side, it'll get out of the play over towards the Dragons' dugout concourse. We'll keep.
Go ahead. Sending Moat would be risky right now with only 1 out. Maybe 2 outs, they send him.
The 1-2. Bounced in the dirt. Gets away from the catcher, Walker, but he keeps it in front enough to prevent Moat from going anywhere. The 2-2 to Jones is fouled off. That one into the parking lot as well. So we'll redo the 2-2. So on deck stands Enrique Diaz. And then in the hole is Travis Stroh, which means of the 9 batters in the Dragons lineup, it looks like 8 of them are going to be pinch hit for. The 2-2. This one's outside, makes the count full. The 3-2. Bounced in the dirt. So Jones does an excellent job to draw a walk. That'll move Moat over to second. And Jones will walk down to first. And Enrique Diaz steps into the box. And now all of a sudden, there's going to be a conversation between pitching coach Zach Breen and the entirety of the infield for the Mohawks. Breen, he's in his 5th year with this Amsterdam squad, and it seems like all he knows how to do is win. In 3 of his 4 years, he's been a PGCBL champion and created these pitching staffs that have been absolutely excellent. But what's more impressive, I think, when you look at what Zach Breen has been able to do, is utilize maybe some of that non-Power 5 talent, Luke. There's a lot of the pitchers that pitch for Amsterdam are community college guys.
Community college guys, and not even local to Amsterdam. Like either earlier today or this game, got a guy from North Alabama, Coastal, and they've been able to just dig around and find good pieces.
Be able to get a couple of guys from the Rhode Island area or St. John Fisher, still Division I schools, the best of the best in the country, but a couple of maybe some of those smaller schools. A guy, though, that's not from those small schools, the guy on the mound, Joe Gold, out of Boston College. Took a redshirt year this past year, but he's actually pretty local to the Glens Falls area from Boston Spa, as Enrique Diaz chops that one to the right side. Young Jr. fields it cleanly, flips over to first for out number 2, but runners are going to advance to third and second. So it's the second out. Enrique Diaz moves the runners over and brings in another pinch hitter in Travis Stroh. Stroh will take over center field more than likely for Tyree Jackson. Those two guys have kind of been platooned back and forth. And Stroh, he's hitting just 154 this season. Watches the first pitch in there for strike 1. The 0-1. Bounces away from Jones from Walker behind the plate, and that'll allow Moat to come home and score. So the Dragons finally get a run to come across. Big thanks to a wild pitch. And Glens Falls, they're on the board. It's now 6-1 here in the bottom of the 5th. Maybe the substitutions, emptying the bench, it's worked. The 1-1, right down Broadway. So Gold comes set. The 0-2. is in there for strike 3. Travis Stroh is welcome to the game, sitting down on strikes. And the Amsterdam Mohawks only allow it to be 1. They still lead it 6-1, heading to the final 2 frames. It's the 6th inning here at East Field in a 6-1 ball game in favor of Amsterdam. The Dragons finally got their first run across the board in the bottom of the 5th. And now they hand it to a new arm in Gabe Gifford to try to keep it where it's at. So the offense, a brand new lineup for head coach Ryan Dio, can potentially go and claw back into this one. Gifford's first pitch that he throws to the 8-hole hitter, to the 10-hole hitter, Brad Curtis, is in the dirt. He throws 2 straight, makes it a 2-0 count. Curtis so far today is 2 for 2. Got a double and a single to his name. He watches the 2-0 pitch miss upstairs. Count is now 3-0. The pitch is in there. And that one's fouled off.
First base coach for Amsterdam and Glens Falls pitching coach Matt Gonzalez are having a long conversation down the first baseline. Then at this the whole at bat.
The 3-2. That's fouled off. So it's actually the leadoff hitter, Chris Holcraft, who's at the plate. As the 3-2 to Holcraft is now fouled off. This one's into the bleachers.
Off the light pole. Bounce back into the field.
Soulcraft making Gifford work for this first out.
7 pitches so far.
The payoff is in there for strike 3. Gabe Gifford comes out of the pen, picks up strikeout number 1, and sits down the leadoff hitter. So third baseman Alex Jungins will come to the dish. So far today, he's 0 for 0. Not often that you get to say that. He drew a walk back in the first, was hit by a pitch in the third, and then had a sacrifice fly in the fourth. He's taking a big cut at the first pitch because he actually wants to get an at-bat registered.
Yeah, it's rare 0 for 0 and you've got 3 at-bats.
3 plate appearances, no at-bats registered. As the 0-1, breaking ball almost runs and nails him, but stays up enough for ball 1. The 1-1. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Another big cut from Jungins. The 1-2. Right down Broadway. Back-to-back strikeouts looking for Gabe Gifford out of the bullpen. He's made quick work of the top half of the lineup to bring up the center fielder, Brendan McCain. McCrane so far in game 2, he's 0 for 2. Has a strikeout, a fly out, reached via fielder's choice, so he's 0 for 3, excuse me. The first pitch he sees is well outside for ball 1. The 1-0 is swung on. Looks like this entire Mohawks lineup, they've got one goal: swing for the fences. It's only a 5-run ball game, but there's just 2 innings of work that need to be covered as the 1-1 misses upstairs. The Mohawks haven't inherently exploded for runs today. They scored 3 back in the second, but then it was just 1-1 and 1, which has got them their 6 runs in this contest. Back in game 1, they scored 3 runs in an inning and then 2 in another, and that's all they needed for their 5-2 win. The 3-1 to McCrane is upstairs, and it's ball 4. So back-to-back strikeouts for Gabe Gifford are followed by a 2-out walk to put a runner on and bring up number 20, Will Cohen. And Cowan's 0 for 2 today. Both of his outs are from flyouts, but he did draw a walk where he reached third. Just couldn't get the 90 extra feet home. Gifford, a lefty, will have a good viewpoint over with McCrane at first. The pitch. Outside. Again, those defensive substitutions. It's Stroh who stands out in center field now. Over at second base, it's Moat. Mueller is at first, and then at third, it's Enrique Diaz. As the 1-0 nips the outside half, makes the count even at 1 apiece. So a completely new defensive setup with the exception of Ryan Jones, who stays behind the plate. The only guy that hasn't been swapped out for a counterpart, large in part due to McLaughlin being in the bullpen, and you saw earlier in game 1, it was Joe Haynes behind the dish. So no available catchers for Ryan Dio realistically to swap to. Otherwise, you imagine he probably would have gone to a guy like McLaughlin. Just trying to change up the whole vibe here in game 2. The 2-1. Broken bat, it looks like. Bounced foul off to the right-hand side. And immediately, Cowan went to check it. He knew it, so he'll hand it off for another one. A lot of broken wood in today's games. It seems like it's maybe the 6th or 7th bat that's been shattered.
Yeah, a lot of guys get the ball run in on their hands. When that happens, the bat seems to break.
So Cowan has got himself a new stick to go swinging in this deuces wild count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here in the top of the 6th. The pitch. Runners on the move. Ball's outside. The throw from Jones. Bounces. Gets over the head of Moat at second. That will allow McCrane to easily advance to third. So McCrane will be given the stolen base, and then an E2 will allow him to advance. To third. Now Bloop will add another run and get the one back that Amsterdam lost as Cowan fouls it straight back. So the count draw is full here in the 6th inning. Gifford comes set. The payoff. Runs inside for ball 4, and he will waltz his way to first. Back-to-back walks with 2 outs. Put runners on the corner. And Bray Touchstone coming to the dish.
Gifford was on cruise control. First 2 batters dispatched quickly.
The story of Glens Falls today. The first pitch to Touchstone bounced in the dirt. Count is going to be 1-0. Story of the season, really, if you're Glens Falls. Getting away from batters, walking too many. It's not been a season to remember for a pitching staff that has a combined 6.4 ERA. That's 4th worst in the PGCBL. The 2-0. Gets away from the catcher, Jones. They're not going to send McCrane. But Cowan will advance to second. So you saw the third base coach who was kind of having a conversation over along that line. It's Greg Cristuludulu over there at third. And then Joe Muzio is along the first base line. Christodoulou decided not to send his runner, and now he's going to send McCrane to the plate. No throw is made, and the walk attempt to Touchstone. So some lackadaisical defense from Glens Falls brings home another run for Amsterdam, puts runners back on the corners with 2 outs, and now the Mohawks lead at 7-1. Amsterdam back to needing 4 to apply a mercy. They have the middle part of their lineup that's really done a lot of damage, specifically the guy at the dish, John Young Jr., who's 1 for 2 today, drew a walk, has a single, and a ground out. In game number 1, he was just as impressive, 2 for 3 with 2 singles. He watches the first pitch strike.
What's worse for Glens Falls is this late little 2-out rally has happened with 2 outs. This entire time they've been 1 pitch away from ending the inning, but
the 1-1 bounced in the dirt. Makes the count 2-1. For a team that was ever so close with 2 outs. Just needed that one right pitch. Instead, it has been disastrous. A walk, and then another. 3 straight scored a run, put runners on the corners as the 2-1 pitch misses below the zone, makes the count now 3-1. And head coach Ryan Dio has stood up off his seat. Got to imagine, with an arm warming in the bullpen, a conversation of pulling him is of the highest importance. That 3-1 breaking ball is in there, evens the count, makes it full. Gifford comes set. The payoff. Breaking ball. That's upstairs for ball 4. And that'll walk a 4th straight. So the bases are juiced now for the extra hitter, Danny Perez. Whoever was warming for the Dragons has settled down, so potentially the last batter for Gabe Gifford, maybe regardless of outcome, out or walk, as he gets Perez swinging at the first pitch strike.
I think that was number 35, Ethan McGarry.
The 0-1 in there for strike 2, so Gifford maybe ditching all strategies, just trying to throw fastballs. Bases loaded for the 3rd time today. Cowan stands over at 3rd, Touchstone at 2nd. A young junior is at 1st. The pitch is in there for strike 3. So all 3 outs come from strikeouts looking out of the hands of Gabe Gifford. But it doesn't matter when you walk 4 in between them all. The Amsterdam adds 1 more, and we're going to go the full 7 here at East Field. We're back at East Field in a 6-run ball game. Amsterdam's got it 7-1 as we enter the bottom of the 7th. It's Andrew Gabriel who leads it all for the Dragons in this comeback attempt at East Field. He watches the first pitch in there for strike 1. It's Nolan Felt who takes over on the bump for Joe Gold. Gabriel fouls that one off in front of the plate, and it's going to get called a foul ball. Gold went just an inning where he gave up 1 hit gave up 1 run, a walk, and a strikeout. So one's across the board for Joe Gold. Not known to go longer than those 1 innings, and passes the ball over to Nolan Felt. Gabriel watches the 0-2 pitch bounce in the dirt. Makes the count 1-2. The 0-2 outside. Count is even now at 2 apiece. Gabriel grounded out the first pitch he saw over towards the shortstop, Cowan. It was more up the middle. Oh, an excellent play made from the Amsterdam defense. This one's hit over towards the second baseman, Young Jr. He fields it and throws on the run to get Gabriel out by a step. So out number 1 is secured here in the bottom of the 6th as Nolan Felt comes out of the bullpen and gets an easy out number 1. So now it's the left fielder, James Houghton, who steps to the plate. He watches the first pitch right down Broadway. Houghton took over for Gallagher back in the 4th, and he had a first pitch single. He reached second on a wild pitch, but wouldn't come around to score. The 0-1, chopped foul. Felt making quick work of this Dragons squad. The 0-2 is in there for strike 3. Houghton goes down looking. It's the first strikeout for Nolan Felt, and it's out number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th.
Felt's been dialed in so far.
Chase Falcon comes out of the bullpen, or comes out of the dugout for his second time at the plate. He went down swinging his first time. He watches the first pitch strike. Felt, the big lefty, spent a season at Niagara and now is at St. Bonaventure, as the 0-1 is a cut on and missed. Felt from that Liverpool, New York area, just north of Syracuse. So St. Bonaventure not too far from him. Niagara, you could argue not too far as well, about a 2.5-hour drive. As the 0-2 to Falcon is fouled straight off to the right-hand side. And now he spends his summers out in Amsterdam, 2.5 hours the other direction. Big lefty, stands at 6'4", but a little bit on the skinnier side, weighing only 160. The 0-2 bounced in the dirt. Felt is getting his second appearance of the season as he gets that one almost on the outside half. The count evens at 2 apiece. As it stands right now, he has an 81 ERA. No, that's not a mistake. An 81, but that's because he's pitched only a third of an inning where he gave up 3 runs in that time frame. Falcon fouls that one off towards the right-hand side. He gave up, in that third of an inning that he pitched, he gave up 3 hits, allowed, or gave up 2 hits, allowed 3 runs, walked a batter, didn't strike anybody out, and gave up a long ball. He only faced 3 batters, so a long ball and 2-1 as Falcon watches strike 3 right down Broadway. He went in just a third of an inning before today, comes into this one, and throws 2 strikeouts and a ground out to keep it where it's at. Amsterdam, if they wanted insurance, they've got a chance to grab it in the top of the 7th. One more inning to go from a doubleheader here at East Field with Amsterdam rolling. They leave it 7-1 over Glens Falls. If they wanted to add more insurance and really just pile on to their day, this is the chance when they can do it. It'll be Wes Walker, the catcher, to start it off. 8, 9, and 10 for the Mohawks. They face Gabe Gifford. Walker's first pitch swinging, puts that one to the left center field gap. Over goes Houghton, who brings it in right in front of the CWI sign for out number 1. So now in steps the left fielder, Sebastian Harden. So far today, Harden's 0 for 2. Scored a run because he reached via an error back in the second. Does have an RBI to his name as well. The first pitch Harden sees, breaking ball that's well too far outside. So Gifford going back out there for his second inning as he gets a big cut from Harden. Makes the count even at 1 apiece.
It's not Gifford, it's Ethan McGarry.
As that one's fouled off to the right-hand side. So McGarry coming into the game for Gifford. Get that first pitch swung from Wes Walker, and now has got a 1-2 count on Sebastian Harden. Harden fouls another one off towards the right-hand side. The 1-2. Chopped. This one fouled to the left-hand side, over towards the bullpen of the Mohawks. We've got another arm loading, so you imagine just the one for Nolan Felt will end his day. The 1-2. Chopped straight foul. So McGarry having to earn this second out against Harden. Something to note here as this game is just seems like it's dying down, it's over. It's almost a couple of times today Amsterdam has hit around. Without looking, Luke, if you had to take a guess, I'll wait till McGarry finishes it before I ask you. As the 1-2 is chopped foul. All right, great. If you had to take a guess without looking, how many batters do you think have come up in the biggest inning for Glens Falls today? At least here in Game 2.
10 or 11.
10 or 11 batters come to the plate in one inning.
That's a lot.
8. You're going to have to cut that number in half. It's been 4. As that one's lined back up the middle, and it'll get into center field for a base knock. So Harden, even with 1 out in the top of the 7, he wants some more. He gets his first hit here in game number 2.
Got the 10 or 11. I believe Garcia and McMahon both faced 11 batters. I saw that earlier.
Oh, I think there might have been a little confusion, and understandably so. Yes, there's been 8 batters that have come up in one inning for Amsterdam. I meant offensively for the Dragons. They've only had 4 batters or fewer come up in each inning. And the only fewer number is 3. Across their 6 innings, the first inning was 1, 2, 3. The second, they had 4 come up. The third, they went 1, 2, 3 again. The fourth, they had 4. The fifth, they had 4. And then in the 6th, they went 1, 2, 3 once more.
So if you're trying to win baseball games,
It may not be the recipe that necessarily does it. They go check on Harden over at first, but the life just sucked out of East Field, and crowd size has stayed relatively fair. Still thinned out quite a bit, but not terribly as we Clock hits 10 o'clock. And we still aren't done with all the action. It's a 1-1 count now to the 10-hole hitter, Brad Curtis, who watches that one upstairs. Game 1, it looked like these two might be just close contested battles back and forth. There was a mercy rule earlier in the year from Amsterdam, but it didn't look like that could happen again today. Instead, this looks like what Glens Falls did to Boonville the other day as the pitch gets behind Jones at second. And now all of a sudden Harden is going to go to third, and he'll take it with ease. Lackadaisical from the defense, and Glens Falls has just given up. A runner stands 90 feet from home. The Mohawks could put a run on for the 6th consecutive inning, as there's only one out, and it's a 3-1 count to Curtis. The pitch. Upstairs for ball 4. And Curtis, he'll walk his way down to first. His first walk of the day. And the lineup turns over to bring in Chris Holcraft, who's coming to the plate for his 5th time. And normally you would see 5 at-bats in a 9-inning game, and that's happened before. It's, especially when your team scores 7 runs. This is his 5th at-bat in the 7th as he takes that pitch, lines it down the left field line, and it's going to one-hop off the fence. Houghton brings it in, gets it in very quickly. The throw to second, not in time. So Chris Holcraft in this Amsterdam lineup, they're not done. A double from the right fielder brings in a run and puts now runners in scoring position as Amsterdam leads it 8-1. He had a run to the RBI to the stat line of Chris Holcraft. He's 2 for 5 now with that double. And in steps the third baseman, Alex Jungins. So far today, he's just 0 for 1. Has a walk, a hit by pitch, and a sacrifice as he hits that one a mile high into center field. Over goes Stroh, who brings it in as a runner tagged from third to make it 9-1. Amsterdam in front. It's the second sacrifice fly to center field for Alex Jungins. His RBI total goes up once more. And it's finally out number 2 with the dangerous Brendan McCrane to the dish. McCrane's 0 for 2 today, or 0 for 3. Yet he's got 2 runs scored. He reached via fielder's choice and drew a walk back in the 6th. Has 2 stolen bases to his name as well. And he's played some excellent defense out in center field after being asked to patrol first in Game 1. So the 1-0 to McCrane. Outside. Makes the count 2-0. Just another blow-up inning for Glens Falls, a team that had so much momentum on Thursday after a win over Boonville has been struggling to do anything against the PGCBL's best.
And remember, all the way back to the first game, they took the lead to start that game, but since then, the wheels have fallen off the bus, and it's come screeching to a halt.
The 3-0 is swung on and missed. McCrane, as we've seen him do a couple of times today, tried to send one to the moon, which is staring down over Eastfield and just kind of grazing disappointment for what it's had to witness and watch today.
The man on the moon has got a frown this evening.
The 3-1, McCrane fouls this one off into the parking lot. He says he wants an actual at-bat, so he'll fight off anything to get a good pitch.
The man on the moon's frown is because he's been staring down at Eastfield all night long.
3 runs for 5 hits the Dragons have across 2 games today. The 3-1 bounced in the dirt. McCrane couldn't justify swinging at that one, so he'll walk down to first in the second straight inning and bring up the shortstop, Will Cowan. Cowan's 0 for 2 today, 2 flyouts and 2 walks. Both times that he's walked, he's reached third. But he has a flyout to the corners. Needs one to straightaway center for the trifecta. The first pitch he sees takes a check swing, but it's in the zone either way for strike 1. The 0-1. Outside for ball 1. McGarry comes set. The pitch. Chopped over towards the shortstop Van Alsten. He throws over to first, and it's in time for out number 3. So the Mohawks add a couple more. They now lead it 9-1, where the Dragons have got just 3 outs to work with to make it respectable. The bottom of the 7th of a doubleheader is here. Amsterdam leads the Dragons 9-1 in Game 2. Well, it's been Mohawks the whole way. It'll be handed to 5, 6, and 7, led by Tate Van Alsten to maybe change something. He takes the first pitch, fouls it straight back for strike 1. Noah Felt goes back out on the mound for the Mohawks. As it stands right now, James Reddick would get the win after going 4 innings of just 1-hit baseball. Really what the Mohawks needed to allow them to grab a sizable advantage that they have kept throughout. The 1-1's chopped over towards the shortstop, Cowan. He fields it cleanly, throws to first, pulls the first baseman touchstone off the bag, and that means Van Alsten's going to reach on the E6. See, the baseball gods knew. I started writing in the rest of my book, started putting it in stone. I was about to say, Amsterdam scores 9 runs on 8 hits, only 1 error.
Nope.
Instead, Cowan decides to make it 2. The first pitch now to Christian Moat gets fouled straight back off the catcher Walker, who winces immediately, so home plate umpire Devin Rhodes will go out, hand the ball directly towards Felt, and give Walker a couple seconds to recoup. Interesting, too. 10 runners left on base for Amsterdam. Maybe not the most staggering number in the world, but for a team that's feel like they dominated, especially Game 2 from start to finish, Luke, 10 runners left on, it feels like they really could have just put this one away early.
They could have, and the 10 runners left on, I think, shows you how dominant they were because around 6 of those were bases loaded.
The 0-1 is outside, makes it, or excuse me, the 1-1 is outside, so it makes the count 2-1. Yeah, in 3 of the 7 innings, they left the bases stranded as Moat takes a big cut. But comes up empty-handed. Count evens at 2 apiece. So a lot of opportunities for Amsterdam to score, just weren't able to capitalize on quite all of them, yet they still lead it 9-1. The 1-2, Moat takes a check swing. They'll ask if he went around, and they'll say he did. So it's a third strikeout for Nolan Felt out of the bullpen to bring up the first baseman, Jackson Mueller. Mentioned what Mueller can do. He's got that pop, leads the Dragons in doubles. Maybe would like a couple of more because today has just not been offensively what Glens Falls needs. If everything stays where it's at right now, today Glens Falls will have scored 3 runs on just 5 hits with 2 errors across 14 innings in 2 separate games. Compare that to an offense that just on Thursday scored 7 runs on 8 hits and stranded only 7. A night and day contest. 2 contests from a couple days ago. The 0-2 gets Mueller swinging over the top. And it's back-to-back swinging strikeouts for Nolan Felt, who's 1 out away.
And you have to wonder what changed from today to 2 days ago, despite the opponent, because, I mean, Amsterdam's good, but, you know, you should think you're able to score more than 3 runs over 14 innings against a team even as good as Amsterdam.
The first pitch from Ryan Jones is foul tipped into the catcher's glove for strike 1. The pitching staff of the Mohawks has proven to be electric. Holding Glens Falls at bay, but also just a couple of mistakes from the Dragons have also proved quite crucial, as well as the pitching staff just not entirely being dialed in. There's a bunch of fingers that you could point, but all in all, it's a team game, team effort. Is head coach Ryan Dio, he's not even out on the field anymore. Back in the dugout with assistant coach Kyle McNeff holding down the third baseline. And it's Riley Orr who's down at first. So the 2 most experienced coaching staff guys, Ryan Dio, Matt Gonzalez, they stay in the dugout for this 7th as Jones chopped this one over towards third. Fielded by Touchstone with ease. And he steps on the bag for out number 3. The bleeding, it's done. Glens Falls gets brutally beat down. A 9-1 victory for Amsterdam. Caps off a doubleheader sweep for the Mohawks. So again, just 3 runs on 5 hits today. Not the performance offensively that Glens Falls was hoping for, but then also pitching-wise, giving up 14 runs on 19 hits, while the Mohawks had 4 errors and stranded 17. Just wasn't going to be enough. The walk's too high. The numbers, they're not where they need to be. And Glens Falls suffers because of it.
Just a night you're going to have to try to forget about if you're Glens Falls. Nothing went your way in either game, although it started like it might. Started off leading in the bottom of the first all the way back in game one, and then, like I said a little bit ago, wheels fell off the bus, just seemed to struggle no matter what they did.
A tough day for Glens Falls. They'll have to forget about it, especially because tomorrow they face a tough team in Saugerties, who's looking to make a run towards this Amsterdam team themselves. The Stallions, they sit at second in the East Division standings, 3.5 games back. So while Glens Falls needs to get back in the win column, the Stallions squad, who's had their number at times this season, they've split the season series so far 4-3. Saugerties is going to come up to Eastfield with a vengeance. Either way, Glens Falls gets swept in the doubleheader, 5-2 in Game 1 and 9-1 here in Game 2. From our entire staff with the Glens Falls Dragons, alongside Luke LaRose, I've been Nathaniel Cunningham. Glens Falls,